The worst thing you can do in the morning is the thing you've been praised for your entire life. Eat breakfast. It's the most important meal of the day. Fuel your body. Kickstart your metabolism. And I'm going to say something that sounds like heresy in a world of cereal commercials and smoothie influencers. For a lot of people, breakfast is the match that lights the fuse for a terrible day. Now, before you slam this video shut, hear me out. I believed the breakfast is sacred rule for years. I lived it. I defended it. I built my mornings around it. And then something weird happened. Many of the problems I'd been dragging around for decades started to fade when I stopped eating in the morning. Not when I changed brands, not when I swapped muffins for granola, not when I bought healthy yogurt, when I skipped breakfast entirely. Let's rewind to what your body is actually doing while you sleep. Every night you fast. You don't call it that because you're unconscious, but that's exactly what it is. For most people, it's 10, 12, maybe even 14 hours with no food. So how do you survive those hours? You don't collapse because your body has a plan. Your liver, like a quiet night shift worker, releases stored glucose steadily to keep your brain and organs running. Your hormones shift into repair mode. Your body starts cleaning up damage the way a city cleans streets at 3 a.m. when no one's watching. During a fast, your body isn't doing nothing without food. It's doing different work, including cellular cleanup and maintenance. Then morning comes, and the moment you eat, it's like you walk into that night shift factory, flip on every overhead light, pull the emergency brake, and shout, "Stop repairs. New supplies are here. Switch back to processing mode." Food tells your body one main thing: stop using stored energy, start using incoming energy. And the messenger that delivers that order is insulin. Here's the key point most people never hear. When you wake up in the morning, insulin is typically at one of the lowest points of your entire 24-hour cycle. That matters because low insulin is the doorway to fat burning. The lower the insulin, the more access your body has to its own stored fuel. You wake up with a rare advantage. Your body is already in a state where it can smoothly burn stored energy, and then most people immediately shut that door. Some people will say, okay, fine, but I eat a healthy breakfast. Let's look at what healthy usually means in real life. Option 1. Eggs and bacon, low carb, high protein, not perfect, but less likely to spike blood sugar. Option 2, fruit and cheese. Sounds innocent, but fruit can still push carbs high enough to nudge insulin. Option 3, smoothies, the modern health religion. And I get it, smoothies feel clean, they taste like virtue, but a lot of smoothies are basically liquid sugar wearing a yoga outfit. Even if it's natural, even if it's from fruit, it can still hit your system fast. And then there's option 4, the heavyweight champion of morning chaos, the classic all-American breakfast. Sweetened yogurt loaded with sugar, orange juice that's basically sugar water with a health halo, cereal that turns into glucose paste the second it hits your stomach, pancakes, waffles, muffins, dessert in a different shape, toast with jam made from high fructose corn syrup pretending to be fruit, hash browns, Pop-Tarts. I used to live this. I remember mornings when I'd buy massive bakery-style muffins, like a small car tire, eat it with coffee and call that breakfast, thinking I was being normal and responsible. But what I was really doing was starting my day with a blood sugar spike so dramatic it could have had theme music. That spike yanks your body out of fat burning, signals store energy, and triggers insulin like a fire alarm. And once insulin spikes early, you've basically bought a ticket for the blood sugar roller coaster. You'll feel it in your head, you'll feel it in your mood, you'll feel it in your energy, you'll ride up and then crash. It gets sneakier because a lot of people try to balance the damage. Waffles, but also eggs, cereal, but also bacon, orange juice, but also a protein shake. They think, as long as I get protein, I'm safe. Protein can slow the blood sugar rise a little. Yes, but insulin is a different story, because protein also stimulates insulin. That's where people get confused. They'll say, my blood sugar didn't spike that much, so why am I still hungry later? Why am I still tired? Why is fat loss so hard? Because insulin can rise even when blood glucose looks okay, and if you combine protein and carbs, you can amplify the insulin response. What looks like a balanced breakfast can still become a hormonal hammer. I'm not here to demonize insulin. Insulin is essential. You wouldn't survive without it. The problem isn't insulin existing, it's insulin being forced to perform a repeated, oversized concert all day, every day, for years. So what happens when you start your morning with a big insulin push? First, fat burning gets shut off. Your metabolism says, incoming fuel, no need to use reserves. Second, your liver starts taking the hit because it has to process that incoming glucose. And when the system is overloaded repeatedly, fat storage in the liver becomes more likely over time, often quietly, without obvious symptoms at first. Third, you retain more sodium and fluid. Some people notice puffiness, swelling, or that heavy feeling, and in more serious cases, you can even see pitting edema where pressing the skin leaves a dent. Fourth, you get hungry again because insulin can drive appetite in a go find food now way, so you eat breakfast and somehow you're starving by 10:30. That leads to the trap. If your breakfast is heavy in refined carbs, you'll want just a little something to make it to lunch. Another coffee drink, a granola bar, something sweet. Then lunch hits, often another carb load, then comes the slump. You know the feeling. Early afternoon, your brain turns to fog, your eyelids get heavy, your motivation leaks out of you like air from a tire. Mid-afternoon, your body asks for another another snack, then dinner, then dessert, then something small at night, and suddenly your whole life becomes a chain of feeding events designed to keep insulin elevated most of the day. Over time, insulin resistance can build, meaning your cells stop responding as well and your body needs more insulin to do the same job. Sleep can get disrupted with frequent nighttime bathroom trips. If that's happening often, that's not something to brush off. Stress hormones like cortisol can be affected by constant blood sugar swings, pushing you toward a wired, tense state instead of calm steadiness. Inflammation tends to rise, visceral fat becomes more stubborn. The cruel part is people blame themselves. They think they're lazy, undisciplined, broken, when often they're just trapped in a pattern that keeps the body in storage mode. So what's the best breakfast for many people? Nothing. Not because food is evil, but because your body may already be running smoothly on stored fuel when you wake up, especially if your dinner was reasonable and you're not snacking all night. What if, instead of immediately eating, you let your body finish its night shift work? What if you extended the fast a little longer? Important note, this is not for everyone. If you have diabetes, a history of eating disorders, you're pregnant, underweight, on certain medications, or have conditions that make fasting risky, don't copy internet routines blindly. Safety first and talk with a clinician. But if you're a typical healthy adult and mornings are a constant struggle, here's what helps a lot of people. Start by removing refined carbs first, because if breakfast is basically sugar, that's the first problem. And when you fix that, everything gets easier. Then ask one question when you wake up. Am I actually hungry or am I just following a schedule? Because many people aren't truly hungry in the morning, they're trained. If you're not hungry, don't force it. Drink water. Have black coffee or plain tea if that works for you. Give your body time. If you get hungry at 10:30, eat then. And over time, push that first meal later without suffering, just gradually, until for many people, the first meal becomes lunch. When you go to 2 meals a day with no snacks, something powerful happens. Your body gets better at using fat for fuel, cravings calm down, energy becomes steadier, your brain feels clearer because you're not bouncing between spikes and crashes, and you're no longer living in 2-hour increments, always hunting for the next bite. I'll tell you what happened to me. I tried the healthy breakfast approach first, eggs and bacon, better than muffins, sure, but I didn't feel the real shift until I removed breakfast completely. That's when my mood improved, mental performance sharpened, and weight stopped feeling like a mystery. I once sat around 211 pounds, dropped into the 180s, and now hover around the high 180s to 190 depending on life. No detox tea, no miracle powder, just stopping the morning insulin spike that used to hijack my whole day. If you want a practical starting point, do this. Cut the sweet breakfast foods first, stop snacking and let meals be meals, eat when you're truly hungry, not when the clock says so, and gradually delay the first meal until it naturally becomes lunch. Pay attention to what changes: cravings, energy, focus, waistline, sleep. Because once you step off the blood sugar roller coaster, it's like you get your day back. Your morning is not a feeding emergency, it's a window. And for many people, the fastest way to feel better isn't adding a healthier breakfast. It's letting the fast do its job a little longer.